Wonderful morning to our viewers across the world. It's Ayo Adams on the sports segment of the weekend show, and it's been an exciting week of phenomenal sports activities across the world. I mean, the Champions League has reached its finals. We have the Rome Open going on in Paris. We also have the Under-17 African Championship that has been going on. We also have a lot of information coming from tennis, both from the ATP Tour and the WTA. Well, we'll start with the Champions League. The 2022-2023 UEFA Champions League season will come to an end on the 10th of June 2023 at the Atatürk Olympic Stadium in Istanbul, Turkey, between 2020 and 2021 runners-up Manchester City and 2009 and 2010 winners Inter Milan, meeting for the first time ever in a competitive matchup. Manchester City defeated holders Real Madrid over a two-legged tie in a 5-1 aggregate after Pep Guardiola displayed a masterclass in the second leg, defeating the Galacticos 4-0 at the Etihad Stadium. Their opponent Inter Milan saw off their oldest rival AC Milan in a 3-0 aggregate at the San Siro. Well, the final will now hold on June 10 between the Premier League defending champions and the former Scudetto champions of the Serie A. Moving on, it's the Europa League and its veteran Sevilla who have made it to their 7th Europa League final after defeating Juventus on a 3-2 on aggregate. The Spanish side have won their last 6 finals in the Europa League. They will face off the Italian side AS Roma, who got past Bayern Leverkusen in a defensive masterclass orchestrated by the special one, Jose Mourinho. The Portuguese manager has also never lost a single final match he's played in. Well, both teams will now lock horns in Budapest on the 31st of May 2023. Moving on to the third tier of the European Championship, we will see the third Italian team in the championship, Fiorentina, take on England's West Ham at the Europa League final in Prague on 7th of June 2023. It's been magnificent, for some of the most brilliant, exciting football spectacles across world football. Well, the Champions League will have Italian giants Inter Milan in the finals. We will also have AS Roma in the Europa League final. Also, Fiorentina will be displaying their protege of football in the final of the UEFA Conference League. So that's 3 Italian teams in 3 championship finals. Well, you can say Calcio is back to football, as Italian football has now surged back to the pinnacle of the sport, having 3 teams in the final of each of the championship. I'll go that again. Inter Milan will play Manchester City in the final of the Champions League. AS Roma will be taking on Sevilla in the final of the Europa League, while Fiorentina, also an Italian team, will be taking on West Ham in the Europa Conference League. Well, now back to Africa. As its football heritage for Senegal, winning the 2023 Under-17 Championship after defeating Morocco 2-1 last night. The crowning moment now means that the Teranga Lions have won all the men's category championships in the last 15 months, starting from the Afcon held in Cameroon last year, the Chan Championship, the Beach Soccer Championship, the Under-17 Afcon Championship, the Under-20 Afcon Championship. We must give credit and massive praise to a country who has developed and managed to manage their football affairs to the pinnacle and highest level of the sport. It's an array of achievement and excellence across all age regions and groups. Well, our football association could learn a thing or two from the Teranga Lions, the Senegal Team Football Association. I mean, it's been spectacular for Senegal. Like I will say again, Senegal has won all the major championships they participated in the last 15 months. They won the Afcon in Cameroon, where Sadio Mane and Koulibaly displayed some brilliant, spectacular football. They won the Chan Championship also, which is played for the home-based players. They went ahead to win the Beach Soccer Championship. They further went ahead to win the Under-20 and the Under-17 Championship. The Under-17 was won yesterday. The Under-20 was won earlier this year. We must give credit to some of these brilliant footballers and the association. Well, let's go back. Let's come back home to the Beach Soccer League in Africa. Well, the Beach Soccer League will kick off its second phase in Kaduna. Brace yourself as the heat of the championship seizes on the sandy shores of Kaduna, which becomes a battleground for electrifying second phase of the third season of this action-packed league. From May 27 to May 29, 2023, the association invites all lovers of beach soccer to come witness an unforgettable display of beach soccer mastery. It all started in Brainy KB in April, where 6 teams embarked on a journey to seize victory in the fiercely contested league. With 3 match days of intense battles, they showcased their passion and determination. Now the stakes are higher than ever. Reigning champions Kada BSC will clash with maiden champions KB Beach Soccer BSC, as well as the KB United BSC, Marco Patigi BSC, Smart City BSC, and the dynamic debutant Ibom BSC. Each team vies for glory, leaving nothing to chance. The contest will kick off on the 27th to 29th of May in the Croc City, Kaduna State. Well, if you're a lover and fan of beach soccer, the Nigerian Beach Soccer League will kick off its second phase in the Croc City of Kaduna, 27th to 29th of May. If you're interested in watching, well, go visit and go. We'll be live there on ground to cover and give you a glimpse of some of the most spectacular scenes from the second phase of the Beach Soccer League happening in Kaduna from 27th to 29th of May at the Croc City. Well, let's shift gears to tennis. And unfortunately, I should be joined by someone via Zoom, but we will not be having the guest on the show this morning due to some technical difficulties. But we'll go ahead to give you the updates from the tennis world. And it's what's sad sight to some of the biggest fans of Rafael Nadal, who now announced that he will not be playing at the Roland Garros. The Spaniard, who is synonymous with the Roland Garros, the red clay, and the Coupe de Mosquetis trophy he has lifted for a record of 14 times, will not be there when this year's edition starts on the 28th of May. He is not fit enough following a hip injury. Even the fact that it's a physical issue, this is keeping him out at almost an inconceivable amount of time when he considers that he might have won his 15th trophy. Rafael Nadal will now be absent from the Roland Garros, as he has also been absent from the clay season so far this season. He picked up a hip injury while playing at the first Grand Slam of the season in Melbourne at the Australian Open earlier this year. That's the first Grand Slam of the season. We will not be seeing Rafael Nadal so much at the clay season. It's crazy, and it's quite sad that the king of clay will not be on court for the clay season. While he also mentioned in his press statement that he might be showing his face, at the end of the season at the Davis Cup. We'll hope that happens for Rafael Nadal. He also hinted at retirement in 2024, that 2024 might be his last time on tour. It is really, really sad that we might not be able to see the king of clay after 2024. Well, we've seen some brilliant athletes retire at the beginning of this year, namely the queen of tennis, Serena Williams, also hung their rackets, followed by Roger Federer, one of the greatest of all time. We might now be seeing Rafael Nadal leave the court next year. Well, we'll move on to some more brilliant news. Well, the clay season is still upon us. The Barcelona Open has been played, the Madrid Open has been played, and the Monte Carlo has been played. We're currently in the Rome Open, where we have Stefanos Tsitsipas playing Daniil Medvedev, while Holger Rune will be taking on Casper Ruud in the semi-finals of the Rome Open in Rome. Well, it's been spectacular for some of these young wards, and for the very first time in over 10 years, we'll be seeing a new champion at the Rome Championship this year. And that brings us to the talk of the next gens. When we talk about the next gen, we're talking about players such as Stefanos Tsitsipas, Daniil Medvedev, Holger Rune, Casper Ruud, Taylor Fritz, Francis Tiafoe, and a lot more others from this line and array of young superstars. Matteo Berrettini is also in the ranks. Felix Auger-Aliassime, the Canadian superstar, is also there. But the most intricate part of this discussion is the fact that we are now asking some of the tennis fans across the world that we've seen Rafael Nadal pick up over 20 Grand Slams. Same as gone for Novak Djokovic, Roger Federer. Would we see a new set of brilliant players take on the mantle of leadership in tennis? We've also seen a rising star in Carlos Alcaraz, the Spaniard, Rafael Nadal's underling, pick up a Grand Slam in the US Open. Would we see more superstars, more youngsters pick up this tennis, the biggest tennis trophy, which is the Grand Slam? Well, we'll wait to see. But there's an array of superstars, young superstars, who are on the roster to win this tournament. But the thing is that we've not seen who can take the mantle of leadership and go on a stretch like Rafael Nadal did 4 times in the Roland Garros, like Novak Djokovic has done repeatedly at the Australian Open, like Roger Federer has done repeatedly at the green grass Wimbledon. Would we see some other youngster pick up the mantle of leadership and run, a stretch of Grand Slams? We'll wait for that to happen. We'll now move to the Women WTA. We are number 30 seed, and Helena Kalinina has reached her first WTA 100 championship of her career with a 7-5, 5-6, 6-2 win on Friday against Veronika Kudametova at the International BNL d'Italia. The Ukrainian Kalina needed 2 hours and 51 minutes to clinch and defeat our opponent to edge ahead into a 2-1 head-to-head with our opponent and collect a second top 20 victory in a row. She will now be facing up with Elena Rybakina in the final. The former Wimbledon champion will now be facing off with the Ukrainian superstar on Sunday. Well, back to football. Brentford Ivan Toney has now been suspended for 8 years amongst all football activities for betting complication and betting issues. The Football Association of England has now issued out a statement stating that the Brentford superstar, who was immense and who was spectacular for them this season, will be missing 8 months of footballing activities, which kicked off a couple of days ago. It will not be participating in the last remaining games for the season. It will not participate in any football activity in the transfer window. It will also not participate up until January. Well, that's the implication and the punishment laid out by the Football Association of the English Football Association to Ivan Toney of Brentford for indulging in betting activities. Well, for those who don't know, footballers and football players, football associations, football, as long as you're in the football space, betting is prohibited for you as a player, as a coach, as a technical staff. And that's the punishment that has been handed upon him. Well, the Nigerian under-20 are now in Buenos Aires getting ready for their World Cup. We wish them well. We hope that they come back in flying colors, just as we've seen Senegal qualify into the next World Cup of the under-17. Under-17 were unable to do so as they lost out in the quarterfinals against Burkina Faso. But our under-20 are getting ready for their World Cup tournament. We wish them well, and we hope they bring back the trophy to the country as we, hope that Nigerian football goes back into a high heights. And finally, the Nigerian Premier Football League, the NPFL, will be playing its final match of the season later in this weekend. As tomorrow, the matches will run across the match days, Group A and Group B, in an abridged league that has been going on so far this season. The top 3 teams from Group A and Group B will now qualify into the Super 6. Some teams have already qualified into the Super 6, but some teams will be looking to qualify from the final match day happening tomorrow, May 21st, Sunday. Well, that's all I have for you on the sports segment of the weekend show. My name is Ayo Adams. I'll be seeing you same time next week. Bye-bye for now.